Hi, and welcome to Focus on English.
This is a calm English podcast for listening and real conversations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're doing something a little specialized today.
We are.
Usually we're digging into articles on tech or history, but today our source material is all about language.
Specifically English. It's a bit different for us, but, the method is the same. We've read through study guides, some short stories, and articles on learning.
And our goal is to pull out the most useful pieces for you. And just to be clear, we're not just reading from a dictionary here. We found this great article, How to Move from B1 to B2. And it introduces a really important idea. It talks about the intermediate plateau.
Oh, that's a feeling I think everyone knows, even if they don't know the name for it. It's when you're learning something,
right,
like English, and you make really fast progress at first, but then you just feel stuck.
You're not getting worse, but you're definitely not getting any better. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, you feel like you're treading water. The article actually compares learning a language to exercising a muscle.
Oh, I like that.
If you always lift the same light weight at the gym, you won't get stronger. You have to challenge the muscle.
You have to increase the weight, exactly. And that's what we're doing today. We found 5 specific phrasal verbs from our reading.
These are the heavier weights. They're the kind of words that native speakers use all the time, but they can be a bit tricky.
So by mastering these, you're forcing that language muscle to grow. We also want this to be active for you.
For sure. Passive listening isn't enough. So as we go through these 5 words, we want you to be part of it.
When we ask a question, pause the audio, think of your answer. Or even better, write it down in the comments.
Okay, let's jump into our first word. What's number 1?
The first phrasal verb is do without. That's D-O and then without.
Okay, do without. This one comes up a lot in stories about, survival. The basic meaning is to manage or live when you don't have something.
But it's a bit stronger than just not having it. It usually means you really need that thing.
Exactly. We found a great example in a course book. It was talking about the agricultural revolution about 10,000 years ago.
So this is before farming. We were all hunter-gatherers.
Right. And the text describes a really stressful life. You wake up, there's no food, no fridge, no cupboards.
You have to go out and find it, or you don't eat.
And because they couldn't store food, the source says they couldn't do without hunting. It wasn't a choice. They literally could not do without finding food every day.
We found another historical example that was, it was even more intense. It's from a story about the Vikings.
Ah, the Vikings. Always a good story.
The story describes their homeland. Long winters, rocky soil. It was basically impossible to grow enough food.
Mm-hmm.
So the text suggests they looked at their frozen land and realized they couldn't do without new territory.
That's a great connection. They didn't just want new land. They couldn't survive. They couldn't do without it, so they had to act.
Thankfully, our modern problems are a bit less life or death.
For sure. I was thinking, I don't think I can do without my coffee in the morning. I mean, I'd survive, but I would be very, very grumpy.
I'm the same way with my headphones. If I forget them, I just have to do without music for the day, and I hate it.
So that's the feeling. Surviving when something you rely on is gone.
Okay, so here's the first challenge for you. Think about your daily life. What's one thing you can't do without?
Maybe your phone. The internet. Or something smaller like chocolate.
Tell us in the comments. Just complete this sentence. I simply cannot do without. And tell us what it is.
And don't say air. Give us something personal.
All right, let's move on. Our second word is one we saw everywhere. The word is end up.
End up. This is such a great word for storytelling. It means to finally be in a place or a situation, often without planning it.
That without planning part is really the key, isn't it?
It is. It suggests a surprise. You start going one way, and you arrive somewhere totally different. We saw a financial example talking about the royal wedding.
Oh, I remember that. The cost was just...
The sentence was, the royal wedding may end up being the most expensive event in history. And if you think about it, no one starts planning by saying, I want to spend all my money.
No, you set a budget. But then, things get added. And suddenly, you look at the bill, and you've ended up spending millions.
Right. But it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you end up somewhere great by accident.
Yeah, we found this amazing story from a language learner on Reddit. This person was learning French.
Right. And the original plan was really simple, just a summer trip to Quebec.
But he just loved it there.
Yeah.
He kept stuttering, kept extending his stay, and he ended up completing an entire university degree in French.
That's incredible. He planned a vacation and ended up with a new life.
It's also a bit of a warning, though, if we go back to that intermediate plateau article.
Yes, it says that if you study without a clear goal, you just drift.
Yeah.
And you can end up stuck at the same level for years.
You didn't plan to get stuck.
Yeah,
It just,
yeah.
that's where you ended up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's practice this one. Think about a time your plans changed.
It could be simple. I went to the store for bread and ended up buying a new coat.
Or I started watching one episode and ended up watching the whole series.
Write a sentence for us.
Yeah.
Tell us about a time you ended up doing something unexpected.
Okay, on to word number 3. This one's a little different. It's about conflict. The word is fallout.
Fallout. Now, the image in your head might be like falling out of a window, but that's not it.
No. In conversation, it means to argue with someone and then stop being friendly with them. It describes a broken relationship.
There's a cool sci-fi story we read that helps explain it. It's about colonies in space.
I loved this one. So humans are living on different planets, and at first it's perfect. They all help each other. They trade.
But then, populations grow, resources get tight.
And they stop sharing. The story says the colonies started to fall out with each other over essential resources. It was a big break. They went from friends to rivals.
There's an important point here, though. Our notes compare fallout with the phrase break up.
And this is really important for learners. Break up is almost always for romantic couples.
Right. You break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend.
You wouldn't say I broke up with my brother. That sounds very strange. For family, friends, or colleagues, you use fallout.
So you might say, I fell out with my friend over a silly argument.
Exactly. It implies you were close, and now there's distance between you.
Okay, so for this one, hopefully you haven't had this experience recently, but try to make a sentence.
You can invent one. The two bands fell out over creative differences.
Or, I really hope I never fall out with my best friend.
Put your sentence in the comments. Show us you know the difference.
All right, let's fix the mood. We've had conflicts, and now for the opposite. Word number 4 is get along.
Get along. I like this one. It's the solution to falling out. It just means you have a good, friendly relationship with someone.
The feeling is best shown in that story about Carl and Susan.
Oh, that was such a nice scene. This man, Carl, he's walking on the beach and runs into an old friend, Susan.
Now that can be awkward sometimes, right? When you see someone you haven't seen in years.
For sure, but not for them. The story says they just started walking and talking. It was effortless. That's what it means to get along. The interaction is easy.
I think we all have people like that. You just click, you get along.
It's interesting, though. We often use this phrase in the negative, especially at work.
How do you mean?
Well, you can't really tell your boss, I hate my coworker. It's not very professional.
Right, so instead you say,
we don't really get along. It's softer. It's a very diplomatic way to describe a conflict.
it's a polite way of saying you might fall out if you're not careful.
Chuckles? Probably. But yeah, in the positive sense, we all want to get along with the people in our lives.
So for practice, who is someone you really get along with?
Maybe a family member,
A coworker.
or maybe you get along with your pets. My 2 cats surprisingly get along.
That's a good one. Write it down for us.
Okay, we are at our final word, number 5. This one is very practical. The word is hand in. Hand in. This just makes me think of being in school.
Me too. It means to give a piece of work, like a document, to a person in authority, a teacher, a boss.
The classic example is a teacher saying, please hand in your homework now.
But it's so common in adult life, too. We saw a business dialogue where someone says, I need to submit the project proposal.
And the notes explain that while submit is correct, hand in is just the more natural way to say
I
it.
have to hand in my report. Sounds less formal.
We also found a really high-stress example about losing your passport when you're traveling.
That's the worst.
The guide says you go to the consulate, you fill out all these forms, and then you have to hand in all your documents to the official.
There's a real feeling of transfer there, isn't there? You're responsible for it, and then you hand it in. Now it's their problem.
Yes, and it can be a huge relief, like, I finally handed in my thesis.
That's definitely a moment to celebrate.
Absolutely. So, listener, tell us, what was the last thing you had to hand in?
Was it a form? An application? A report for work?
Let us know in the comments. The last thing I handed in was...
All right. We have unpacked 5 really useful phrasal verbs.
We have. They cover so much, from survival to friendship to work.
Let's do a very quick recap before we finish.
Good idea.
First, we had do without.
That's managing when something you need is missing, like the Vikings who couldn't do without more land.
Second was end up.
Arriving in a situation you didn't plan, like the student who ended up with a degree in French.
Third, fallout.
To argue and stop being friends. Remember, friends fall out, couples break up. Fourth was get along.
To have a good, friendly relationship, like Carl and Susan on the beach. And finally, hand in.
To give work to an authority, like you hand in your homework.
That is a great set of tools. Now, I just want to go back to the beginning. We talked about that intermediate plateau.
Right, and the language muscle. That article had one last piece of advice. It said the biggest reason people get stuck is a fear of making mistakes.
That makes so much sense. When you're a beginner, you don't care. But at the intermediate level, you start to feel embarrassed.
And that embarrassment stops you from practicing. It makes the muscle weak.
So you have to be willing to use these words, even if you're not 100% sure.
Exactly. Writing a comment with a small mistake is so much better than thinking a perfect sentence and never sharing it.
Because if you hand in a sentence with a mistake, we can help you. But if you do without practicing, you might end up stuck.
Oh, very nicely done.
Chuckles. I tried. But seriously, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope the stories help these words stick.
Just choose one word from today. Write a sentence below. It helps us know that we're getting along well with all of you.
We'll see you in the next deep dive. Keep practicing.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for listening. If this podcast helps you practice English, feel free to subscribe. See you next time.